What does passion mean to me? I actually looked up the Webster Dictionary definition, and my own personal one was pretty similar. It says it's an intense, driving, or overmastering feeling. And to me, passion, just to add to that, would be a commitment and a focus that adversity and challenges do not deter. And I just kind of picture, one of those superheroes running down a path and stuff just falling off them. And to me, that's what passion is. It does not deter you from going down the path that you believe in, that you think is right. Well, my passion right now is just, it's really twofold from a faith perspective. One is to see people who do not know the Lord to come to know the Lord. And it's easy for me to say that because most of my college friends are not believers. And probably all my relatives are not believers. And so that's obviously a burden and a passion to try to just share the love of Christ with them and the Bible, the gospel with them. The second part of that would be for those who are believers, which would be this audience here at New Covenant for the most part, is to really grow your relationship with the Lord. I lived 35 years without a relationship with the Lord. I didn't become a believer until, 35 years old. And there's two ways to live. And living for the Lord is just so rewarding and so fulfilling. And God just has so much for us. But He really wants to walk with us. He really wants that relationship with us. And I guess my passion is for people to really feel and want to have that. Not just to say, hey, the Bible's here, it's a book, I'll read it when I get a chance to. Oh yeah, going to church twice a week is fine, but other than that, I'm not really focused on it. My passion is just to see the kids think about it all the time. And to me, if I'm passionate about the Bible, and if I'm passionate about and focused on being a difference, I mean, the word holy, at least in part, means to be separate. And if people can see that I'm separate from the world, they will see, or they may say to themselves, I want that, or I know he's different, and if things get tough for me, maybe I can go ask him why he's different, what it is he believes in. I think about 3 or 4 years ago, just walking down the street, and being passionate. At the time, had been reading some books, and I was just focused on being a smiley, friendly face that might help somebody. And I remember I walked by this guy I'd never seen before. We crossed paths. And he got about 20 feet behind me, and all of a sudden he turned around and said, "Excuse me, sir, would you be able to help me?" And so I said, "Well, what's going on?" So he just said, he had been stranded here in Cedar Rapids. His car broke down, and he needed a ticket to get to the Quad Cities, a bus ticket. And we were 2 blocks from the bus station. So anyway, we validated that was a legitimate story and that we could do that. And I said, well, let's go down there and see if we can get you a ticket. And on my way there, I just said, would you mind if I asked you a couple questions? And he said, no, go right ahead. And I said, has anybody ever talked to you about the gospel of Jesus? And he just said, you know what? Right about now, I could use an angel. And the door was open. So, it's just an example that if you have a focus, have a commitment, that God can open doors, but that you can even invite that. This group, the middle schoolers and high schoolers, have, to me, an energy and an imagination that no other age group has. And so if you're able to take those 2 assets and couple it with a heart for the Lord, you can literally have nothing stop you from really furthering the kingdom of God. Don't let anything deter you. We don't know what tomorrow brings, and that doesn't mean it has to bring anything bad. It might just bring an opportunity, And don't let anything deter you from wanting to have a stronger relationship with the Lord.
Passion, to me, is discovering and living out some of the things that God put into our hearts that we didn't even know about, and living that out. I'll say that's a kind of joy. That's living out joy, and we may or may not have even recognized that we had that in us. There's things that they'll pop up later on. You didn't know that God already put that in your heart, but He did that. It's like watching. It's like God knows where all the flowers are planted and you don't, and they come up in the spring and you go, wow, what did He do here? I like that. I probably have a couple of, I'll say a few passions, but the one, here's an example of something I didn't know that I had in me until later on, and that's teaching. I had a couple of folks encourage me in indirect ways, and then the first time I ever taught was here at New Covenant. Another thing that happened was I got involved with a ministry that teaches the Bible. It's called Bible Study Fellowship, and they train people. And I love being able to see that ministry equip people from churches all over, and folks can go back to their home churches and use what they've learned. And that's something that I've been able to do, and I'm very thankful for that. One of the things that we've experienced here at New Covenant is something called servant leadership. And when we're fulfilling how God has put these things in our hearts, we're serving others, and in doing so, and it's not about us, but we're also helping guide others and in that fashion lead. Any advice for someone in high school with similar passions? First off, you may not know you have them yet. There may be the seeds in there, but they haven't bloomed yet, so just be prepared to be surprised. There'll come a point where it's kind of like how Jesus talked about the vineyard, and where he dresses the vine, and when we're plugged into the vine, we're bearing fruit for Christ. God may say, you know what, you got some nice thick branches here, but I got to trim those off so this other one can grow and really bear fruit. And you may go, but I like that branch. And serving Him involves a little bit of saying, okay, Lord, your way, not mine. So you may have to be prepared to set aside some things, because He knows that once you get into the things that are for His kingdom, you'll really love those even more, and you'll go, why was that a big deal? Someone in senior high once, in a different senior high long ago, challenged me, and that's what caused me to come to Christ in faith. And I love being able to pass that on, and knowing that you guys are all loved by the Lord and able to go out and make a difference for Him in many places as He's called you. And He knows, and you don't. Okay.
What does passion mean to me? When I saw that question the first time, I thought about there's a verse that came to my mind. It's Psalms 20 verse 4. It says this: "May He give you the desires of your heart." And the Message Bible put it this way: they say, "Give you what your heart desires." And this verse really kind of sums up passion to me. It's the idea that God places inside of your heart a passion, a desire. Hopefully most people who are watching this video have had the privilege, I've had the privilege of being your middle school pastor. There is nothing more exciting to me than bringing in a group of young 11-year-olds and walk into the middle school room, and with excitement and thrill and fear and, oh my goodness, I'm in middle school now, and what this is going to look like, and as well as the excitement of, oh, this is going to be so much funner than children's ministry, and being a part of them slowly but surely realizing the magnitude of what life life is going to be like. We have a phrase that we try to work with the sponsors, the middle school sponsors, and that is that we have a heart and desire to be able to help middle school kids take spiritual steps forward. And we want to give as many opportunities for them to do that. What that looks like for every single middle school kid is completely different. And that's something I really enjoy too, is each time I interact with a kid on Wednesday or on Sunday or throughout the week when we run into each other, go eat lunch with a kid or something like that, to see them, to hear them ask questions, to see them struggle with a relationship, all that kind of stuff plays out every single day, it seems like. It's so easy for us, and as adults, we have to struggle with this even more so than youth, and that is that we got caught up in this routine that works for us, and then we just stick with it. And as youth grow, we find ourselves as youth that hey, this works for us. Let me just keep doing this, and we don't try new things. And so I just want to encourage any high school youth that have an overwhelming desire to be able to honor God with their lives, that you search Him out, that you don't become stagnant, but you try new things, you get involved, or if you're involved in something, be willing to be able to take the next step. Do you see yourself taking on a leadership role? Maybe you've just been helping and you've been following, people who have been leading it and sharing with you. Maybe for yourself, the next step is for you to take a leadership role, or for you to be able to come up with an idea of how to help God's truth to be shared with others. The other big encouragement is this: there is nobody on this earth that's more equipped than you are to be able to share the gospel and the love of Christ with your peers than you are. There is nobody. I don't care how good I am with middle school kids or anything else. How many middle school kids who don't know me want to have a 43-year-old guy that's balding come and talk to them about Jesus? But if a friend who is struggling just like they are, they're having a hard time with math, or their teachers are pain in the butt, or their parents are all over them, and they're going through the same struggle that you're going through, and they share what Christ is doing in their life, there's just not a comparison.
Fuel your soul. Be with others. Read. I'll encourage anyone to read C.S. Lewis any day of the week, but there's plenty like him. But discover things in him.
Pursue the passion that you have, but you can also develop it. And I would just say this, I really would, and I know I'm quite a bit older, so this may come across as just an old person talking, but I really encourage you to rid yourself of anything that's not really God glorifying. I mean, I guarantee you right now, Patrick's not in heaven saying, I wish I'd watched more TV, or I wish I'd watched more video games. And maybe we have to look at things that way. It's like, if it's not God honoring, maybe we need to think twice about why we're doing it. And the other thing I would say is, when you have the chance, glorify God. I was given a stage. I mean, when I was doing sports, and I talked to the middle schoolers about this, I had 2 years where 2 seasons I didn't lose a race. I mean, I was winning all these races, and people looked up to you. And I had a perfect opportunity to glorify the Lord, and I didn't do it. I dropped the ball. So you don't have to be in that situation. Glorify Him, everything you do.
There may be times when you will be shook up by something, but never, ever, ever doubt that He knows you and loves you.